I did check in with our supervisor, kind of asking him, I interviewed him and asking him questions, how many cameras we have out. And so he said that about 10 at a time, and it'll all really depend on what we are looking for. So sometimes they're looking like they've seen tracks of a specific animal and they want to see if what's out there, they will put them out. Sometimes they're trying to keep just safety. If they think that people might be trespassing, they might put them out for that reason as well. So various reasons. It could be to see what animals are out there, all the way up to like safety concerns. So that was really interesting to know. So we have about 10 out at a time. And I was also asking him about like, what type of camera do we recommend any? And he says we purchase all different kinds. We have like 5 or 6 different types right now. And they range anywhere from $80 to $100. It just really all just depends. Typically, we don't have them out like on the trails to like see humans. Most of the time they're putting them in areas where they think that animals might be. And so that's kind of how like they choose the place of where the cameras are. But it'll all just really depend on what they're trying to find. So sometimes they'll place the cameras higher up so you can get more like of a view downwards. If they're trying to see if there's like something in a specific den, they might just put it out in front of the den. So it'll all just vary depending on what they're really trying to find. That was a great question. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other questions. It looks like we have some more folks joining us. Welcome. Today we have our Caught on Camera presentation. My name is Betty. I am one of our educational aides at Open Space Authority. Terry here is going to be hosting. She is our education program coordinator. While I'm presenting, I will not be able to see what is going on in the chat or questions. So if you go ahead and talk amongst yourselves on the chat. If you have any questions, if you scroll down to the screen at the bottom, there's that little Q&A function. Type in questions there. It helps us keep like better track of when that we're answering each question that we're getting. I just kind of wanted to start off by saying I am not an expert on camera trails. I'm just very, very excited, and I'm going to share a story towards the end of our presentation on why I'm really excited about camera trails. And so I did ask field staff that has access to the different camera trails to share some footage that they've got over the years. And so we got quite a few, all the footage that we're seeing is going to be from our field staff and the different cameras that have been put up. We do have an expert joining us today, joining our program. Kim is a trail camera expert, and so maybe she can help us answer some questions as well. So it is 7 o'clock, so we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. And if you have a moment, if you can just grab a pen and a little piece of paper, I'm going to ask you to write a couple of things down. So if you have anything close by, I'm going to start getting it started, but if you want to run and grab that real quick, that will be really helpful. If not, you can use your mind and kind of remember some of the things that I ask. All right, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. There we go. And we want to share computer sound. All right. All right, does everybody see that okay? Yeah, all right. So again, my name is Betty. I am an educational aide at Open Space Authority. I've been with them just under 2 months, and I'm really excited to be joining the organization. And they asked me to do a program, and this is one of the things I'm really excited about is different types of trail cameras and the different type of species that have been able to be documented because of it. So just a little bit of information. We're going to just kind of be going, what is a trail camera? Why are they important? And then we'll be sharing some of the different species that have been seen at our preserves. We already did get a question, am I going to be sharing where every trail camera is? And no, I will not be sharing them. I'm just sharing like what has been seen at all of our preserves, and it's just for safety reasons. We want to make sure that our cameras are safe and whatever animals have been seen in those areas stay safe as well. So we're not going to be sharing every location, and the locations of the cameras change every so often depending on what we're looking for as well. All right. So what are trail cameras? So they're motion activated cameras that can be triggered by body heat or movement of an animal whenever that's detected. And that just allows us to document that specific area. So most of the time, the image that is captured or the video that is captured will have a time and date, and it really just is very important to be able to document that information. And then it kind of tells us about the species and their activity level. And what's great about that is that day and night, these cameras are able to provide a glimpse into what was previously unseen in the world of animals. So, you know, when humans are out there, the behaviors of the animals might change a lot. And so with these cameras being there, we're able to capture things that we haven't ever seen before, which is one of the really things that make me really excited about trail cameras. And so why are the trail cameras important? So they really provide a lot of information. So they're able to collect data on the different species, where they're located, the population size, how many species, how are different species interacting, which is really cool to kind of see that same camera just documents so many different types of species kind of going through that space, which is always really interesting. And it just kind of helps us understand how humans, how livestock's interacting, and how all other forms of wildlife are interacting. So trail cameras have really revolutionized wildlife research and conservation. They've enabled scientists to collect a bunch of photographic evidence that's rarely seen, and it's often often globally endangered species, which is really important while they're out there doing research. And it comes to, you know, little expense. It's relatively easy, and there's minimal disturbance to wildlife. So researchers have been using trail cameras to document wildlife presence, abundance, population changes, and particularly in the face of, you know, deforestation and habitat destruction that's going on out there. What's also really important is that trail cameras are increasingly being used to raise conservation awareness worldwide. So different organizations are using this tool as a powerful way to reach out to the public. And, you know, they share them on YouTube and social networks. And it just really is a great way for us to be able to connect with wildlife that we typically don't get to see, especially if it's in our backyard, and just create that emotional connection with them. And then hopefully we see the importance of wanting to preserve those open spaces, because we see the animals that are using that as their home, which typically maybe during the day we don't really get to see. So really, really important use of trail cameras. Kind of segueing into that is this viral video. I don't know if Terry, who's seen this viral video before? If just by looking at it, it's about a bobcat. The photographer was Robert Martinez, and he sets up wildlife cameras all over the Los Angeles National Forest. And it's just a great video on, you know, wildlife interacting with each other out in the forest when there are no humans around. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this so everyone gets a chance. I know that it's viral, a lot of people have seen it, but it's just a great video to kind of document what's happening. For those of you that aren't able to really notice, that is a rattlesnake interacting with a bobcat there. And you hear that crunch there. So bobcats can, when they take that bite of their prey, they're able to immobilize them immediately with that bite. And then we see the bobcat there rolling around right next to its kill. So it's just really interesting. I'm going to pause this so we won't see all of it. But for those of you that enjoyed that, you can definitely just YouTube bobcat versus rattlesnake. Or if you're really interested in Robert Martinez's work, I follow him on Facebook, and he just is posting all kinds of different trail cameras that from the Angeles forest. He does bears, all kinds of stuff. It's so interesting to see. So that's Robert Martinez. You can follow him on Facebook. And so with that particular video, he was sharing just on Facebook how so many people were telling him he staged that. They can't believe it's real. And that just goes to show that, you know, we don't really know what's happening out there in the wild without those trail cameras. And it's just a great, he just got really lucky and got a great shot, which was really cool to see. So this is a map of our different preserves or lands that we manage. So the dark green are our preserves, and then that more like middle tone green are some of our protected, managed and protected spaces as well. So our trail cameras can come from any of those locations. I don't have the specific locations on each of the videos, but I just kind of wanted to show you an overview. All of the videos are from Santa Clara Valley. Oh, Santa Clara County, I'm sorry. And so I want everybody to get that piece of paper and pen or pencil ready. This is the video that Open Space Authority made with some of our awesome footage that we have from different trail cameras. And what I want you to do is, it's about a 4-minute video, and I want you to put that scientist, biologist cap on, and I'm gonna play the video, and I want you to see and document any behaviors that you're noticing that the animals are doing. So, and then we can share a little bit in the chat. Maybe Terry, you can share those with me since I won't be able to read them. So I'm gonna play the video, and get your pen and paper ready. All right. So if folks can share, I was also taking my little notes as we were watching that video with my biologist hat on. If folks can share what are the species they saw and a behavior that they noticed that they were doing in the chat, and then share, then Terry can share that with us as well as we get going. So if anyone wants to share, that'd be wonderful. Give everyone a moment. Do you have any observations to share, Terry?
Oh yeah, so Kim is saying that she saw a bobcat cooling off, howling coyote pack, bobcat scratching a scent post, bobcat kitten play, coyote and badger cooperative hunting, and the bobcat still hunting, and a puma with an exclamation point.
I know. Yeah, those are all great. Yeah, we definitely noticed the bobcat cooling off underneath, kind of like in a shady spot. And the playing. So with a lot of young animals, when they play, they're learning how to become adults. So sometimes we see bobcats or certain types of animals kind of play hunting or playing with some, like this one, it looked like it was playing with an adult or a larger bobcat. But all of that is really crucial into their development and being a successful adult. So that was really cool to see. Yeah, the bobcat scratching. The video with the coyote and the badger was from Post with the Peninsula Open Space Trust. And so that is like one of our partner organizations that we sometimes work with. That was a really cool video that you saw the coyote kind of go and then like, oh, waiting for his, I guess, friend, you know, and they hunt together, which, you know, who would have known? So that's just really cool to see. Anybody else have anything else to share that they noticed?
So Gina saw coyotes howling. Jennifer saw bobcats marking a tree. Kathy saw a bobcat scratching its claws.
Very cool.
You have other people saying like cubs playing, bobcat scratching, planting a tree, mountain lion avoiding the camera. Woo.
Yeah, good job, everyone. That's great. I love being able to put my different hat on and then kind of make observations. Kids are really great at making observations. Like, so even just, you know, having a bird feeder out there and helping them, you know, just having them observe what's going on. They're really good at just observing different behaviors, which is a really fun activity to do. So we are going to now kind of go on into observing some of the footage that we've seen at our preserves. Before I go into that, I just want to thank our field staff that shared all the videos and images. They're the ones that really helped me put this together. So we have David Thorpe, who's one of our field staff. He had so many, most of the video footage that you're seeing is from his, that he shared. And he has like participated in a bunch of different projects while he's been at the Open Space Authority. So a corridor ecology project at De Anza, the Bay Area Puma project, and Bay Area Bobcat study. Andreas Campuzano, Patrick Stevenson, Michael Fong, Stephen Woodson, they all contributed some footage. So like I said, a lot of the video footage that we're gonna be seeing, David Thorpe shared that with us. And what he said, it's footage of a non-invasive DNA rub study that they were doing. So they put different posts out there with different compounds for olfactory response. So you're gonna see a lot of the footage, the animals are smelling and doing different behaviors because of what they put out there to get them attracted to the post. So thank you to them. Our first friend that we're going to talk about is our striped skunk. If you can just like do the raise hand function or do a thumbs up function, and how many of you have encountered striped skunks in your neighborhood or as you've been out hiking in open spaces? I know I definitely have. Sometimes I just open the door to my backyard and I can smell them. So skunks are about the size of a house cat. They're very distinguishable. They're black, and then they have the 2 white stripes on their back and tail. And they thrive in the country and city environments, and they're found all throughout California. They do make a hissing sound right before they're getting ready to spray, which is a good warning to know if you ever encounter one. You also, they also are omnivorous and opportunistic feeders. So their diet primarily consists of insects, especially during the spring and summer seasons, where they'll feed on grasshoppers, beetles, crickets, bees, and just other arthropods. And then during the winter time, or when it's colder, they might eat a little bit more of a carnivorous diet. So rodents, even lizards, whatever type of things they can catch. Skunks do not have as many predators as maybe some other animal that might be that size. And the reason for that is because of their stinky spray. So a lot of animals have recognized their pattern and know Holly been sprayed once or twice and know that they need to be to stay away. But they might be preyed upon by some raptors or predatory birds. Owls have a poor sense of smell. So owls might be one of the animals that might feast on a striped skunk. They are solitary most of the time, and they often live in abandoned dens of other mammals during the day, or logs or brush piles underneath buildings. During the wintertime, most animals prefer to den underneath in the ground. And that's just because of the temperature just is a little bit more consistent when they're underground there. And they are nocturnal, and typical lifespan for a skunk is about 7 years. A fun fact, which I think everyone should know, just to kind of stay safe, is that they can spray their scent about 15 feet. So that's quite a distance. And even babies as young as 3 weeks old have the ability to spray. So just kind of be aware of that. And so I'm going to share some of our footage that we have. So this is one of our striped skunks at one of the preserves. Let me go ahead and play that. And remember, those posts have different smells on them.
What is that?
So they typically will do a warning display before they are wanting to spray anyone. They want to warn. And so they'll do that little stomping the feet and the arching of the back and the raising of the tail. And that is the behavior that you saw right there.
Oh, scary.
There it goes. Let's see if it'll, with the videos, sometimes the PowerPoint acts a little funny. Let's see if it'll let us see the next video. And so I have myself encountered skunks quite often. I used to work at Oakland Zoo. Here's another one. And this one's doing more like of a little bit of a scratching motion. So they must smell something on that post that they're just like, oh, I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to do my little warning. And then he just takes off there. And so while I worked at Oakland Zoo, I did work overnights, and we used to have to walk quite a way to get to the meadow where folks were spending the night. And I'd have to run back and forth, like getting supplies for folks. And it would be dark. And we had a resident skunk at the zoo that every time I encountered him or her, they would stand their guard and they'd say, nope, you need to move it. And I knew to just kind of step away and step back and until it crossed the walkway, and then I knew it was safe to kind of go by. But always put me in my place, and definitely did that little warning to let me know I needed to back off. And here's just another image from one of our trail cameras, but this one is just more of an image, not the video. But you can also see down here the different information that most of the cameras provide. You see the date. This one even has the weather and the location there. Our next friend is a gray fox, which I have yet to see in the wild or in person. Has anybody, by the thumbs up or raising your hand, has anybody seen a gray fox while they have been out there exploring? I'd love to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of hands.
Ooh, wow. You guys are all very lucky. I have yet to see one. So gray fox are very distinguishable by the gray top, the peppery gray on their backs, on their top, and they have a reddish brown on its side, chest, and the back of its legs. And they have the long bushy tail with that black stripe down the middle. And they have those pointed teeth and pointed muzzle and long hook claws. So they have pretty long claws, which is distinguishable. They have short legs that are very powerful, and these legs are designed to give them the tremendous ability to balance itself while it climbs. So those long hooks kind of help them pull themselves up, and their furs also help them really blend in while from predators. The sounds that they make are like yapping, howling, barks, whimpers, and little screams. And then I think Terry must have added here, what does the fox say?
It's not like in the little video, right?
Yeah, what does the fox say? They prefer wooded and brushy areas of the southwestern United States, but here in California, you can also find them in chaparral habitat, where it gets more rainfall in the winter and the summers are a little bit hotter and drier. And they will typically make den sites out of rock formations, hollow logs, trees, burrows, and brush piles as well. Some dens are sometimes even 30 feet above ground. So, they use that climbing ability. They are omnivores and opportunistic foragers. So they can eat anything like berries, nuts, birds, insects, rabbits, and rodents. So I always say any animal that eats a rodent is very important because they help keep those rodent populations down. And if it made a big kill, what they will do is they will bury that and then they will go back to it later. They will mark it with a spot of urine, and so they know they can find it and kind of come back for it. So predators for these guys are humans. Hawks, eagles, owls, bobcats, and coyotes can also be predators. And they are a monogamous pair when they maintain a monogamous permanent pair bond. And adults are solitary except when they're breeding or having their young.
We do have a couple of questions that came in.
Oh yeah.
Annette is curious as to if, do you know if Derek told you, have we marked our cameras as our own, and how do you prevent other potential poachers from setting up cameras in the wild areas?
That's a great question. So he was saying that, yes, our cameras are, we know which ones are our cameras and where they are located when they set them out for whatever they're studying. He did say that they also set out cameras, just to see if humans are trespassing in the area as well, just for safety precautions. So I feel like if they have an idea that that's kind of going on any of our properties, especially when there's boundaries with other with homes and that type of stuff, they're able to set cameras up for trespassing as well to kind of just keep our space safe and then keep our whatever is within our spaces safe as well. So our big goal is to protect the resource, in which is our space and whatever is living in it.
And it's okay if you guys see one, it's okay to call the office or email us, let us know where you saw it. And if you're concerned that it might not be ours, we can always go check.
Yeah, that is a great question about that. And he did mention that they normally put them in areas that we can't really see. If there is one in like where we've seen tracks and we want to make sure it's on the trail, we normally will place them not where the human eye normally goes to. It'll be like down below or higher up. It's not very easily seen by us if we're walking the trail. So if it's like in a little bit of a curve, you're focusing this way, so they might put it like where it's not visible, because we do want to keep our camera safe. That's one of the things that I asked about was, what are some of the problems with the cameras we have? He says that they typically last quite a while. The durability of them, like the ability to take pictures and the quality of pictures doesn't really change. We have them for about 5-6 years. And then we get another one. Normally it's the elements that are causing problems with them. Yeah, there's any problems. Sometimes they get stolen, and that's one of the problems. But other than that, so they do pretty well.
Richard was asking, he says, I believe that gray fox is a non-native species. that's a danger to wetland birds.
I found what I found on them. It seemed like they were found throughout the United States. I didn't see them as an invasive species, but I can look a little bit more into that, Richard, and get back to you on that. I want to make sure I give you accurate information on that.
And then Jennifer wants to hear the sound.
Okay, yeah, I am going to share that sound. I hope that it is able to come through. Let's see if it'll come up on this. Are you seeing it go to the sound cloud?
Oh my gosh.
So how I found this sound, it was an article about a man that encountered a gray fox in Berkeley with his dog, and he heard this sound and wasn't sure where it was coming from, but he was able to snap a picture, and it was a gray fox.
It's like worse than being yelled at by a goat.
Yeah, that is a pretty loud sound.
That would work. I'd run. Oh.
Yeah, pretty loud sound. I would definitely, it sounds like yelling, like screaming to me.
Jessica said she actually hears that in her backyard.
Oh, does she? That's so cool. That's really, really cool to hear. Let's see, where was I? I think I went over predators. They're crepuscular, which means that they're most active at dusk and dawn. So you will see them during like the daytime sometime, but they probably hunt once it's getting darker. And typical lifespan is about 6 to 10 years. And one of the really cool facts was that they are able to climb trees, which no other in the dog family can. And so they're able to get away from enemies that way, any predators. They're good at going up, but they're not as great coming down. So they kind of shimmy down backwards. But they can also sit in the trees and ambush prey. And they're not fast runners, but they can reach up to speeds up to like 42 miles per hour for short distances. I think if they're really trying to go after something. Okay, I'm gonna share our video now. Let's see if this goes. And so you can see the rubbing on that. Sometimes animals will, if they smell another smell, they might rub themselves on there to kind of like get their smell on there. And a little bit of urination there. And, you know, like we said earlier, they tend to urinate to kind of mark their territory. Let's see if this next one comes up. I think it's the same one or the different one. I think it might be the same one. Oh, here's it. Nope. Sorry, I apologize with the video. So there's a little bit of a lag sometimes. Okay, not this one. We saw this one. Okay, this one. There it goes. And what I really liked about this video is if you notice in the back on the tree, there was one on the tree that jumped down. So you kind of saw their eyes there. I will replay it. That was also interested in that smell and kind of rubbing themselves on there. But I'll replay it so you can see them kind of in the tree and then jump down from there. You see the eyes back there, kind of spying on its friend, and then jumping down. All right, let's see what we have. And I wanted to share this next one because it was in color and most of them are kind of black and white. But this one was in color.
Kim was asking if we know what scent was on that.
So he has different scents on there, but one that he did share was Obsession for Men. Was one of the scents that they used that a lot of the animals really enjoyed. And so I can share that for the animals that we had at the zoo, Obsession for Men was something that we used quite often for enrichment for them. They also really loved it. So it's nice to hear that all animals, all big, I think the big cats enjoy it the most, really go crazy for Obsession for Men. And I think there must be some pheromones or something in there that they really, really like. So we would kind of spray it in different parts of the exhibit, maybe put it in a box with like different items in there. So I have to tear the box open. Yeah, so their wild counterparts also really enjoy that smell as well.
Maybe don't wear it when you're jogging.
Maybe do not wear it while you're out there jogging. That is a great suggestion, Terry. I didn't even think about that.
Oh no.
So this is just another scent that was put out there, and kind of just a color one, so you guys got a chance to see that. There. So our next friend, coyotes are one of my favorites. I really like I really like them. So coyotes are often mistaken for small or medium-sized domestic pugs, but they have a long bushy tail with a black tip. Oh no, it's that lag. I apologize. With a black tip, and they have pointed ears and a narrow pointed face. Their fur can vary in color, but typically they're like that tan color, but could be light brown to grayish. And then they have a lighter belly color. And they're found in pretty much all types of habitats: desert, desert scrubs, grasslands, foothills, and even like populated areas and neighborhoods. So they are quite adaptable. They've even been found living in San Francisco and Los Angeles. Some of the sounds that they make, they are really vocal and great communicators. You might hear some growls, barks, wails, huffs, yelps, squeals, and howls from them. So coyotes sing as a way to communicate with other coyote families, as a way to keep track of their own family members, which I thought was super cool. And you got to see that video in the Open Space Authority video that was made. You got to see some of that howling going on there, which I thought is super cool. They are omnivores, and they'll pretty much eat anything they can. They're very opportunistic in that sense. They could eat, fruits, flowers, insects, rodents, lizards, rabbits, birds, snakes. It's really just all what's around them. And the most common enemy for that coyote space is mostly disease. Depending on where they are, could be bears or mountain lions that can prey upon them. But one of the big things that is one of the problems that they have are busy roadways, and so a lot are struck by cars every year. And their social structure is they live in family groups, but they usually travel and hunt alone or in loose pairs. It'll just really be dependent on what they are hunting. If it's a small prey, they will hunt on their own, and then they kind of stalk it and pounce it. But if it's something bigger like a deer, then they will work together in their pack to hunt that. And they can live anywhere between 10 to 14 years. One of the really cool facts that I thought is that I read and I was really impressed by is that they are really good swimmers, which my dog doesn't like water so much, but I know that there are some types of dogs that do. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't think they would like water too much, but they are good swimmers. And when chasing prey, they can run up to 40 miles per hour, which I thought was really cool. The name coyote comes from the Mexican Spanish, and it was derived from a Nahuatl word, coyote, which is a native word, which I thought was kind of cool too.
We do have a message here from Judith saying that also rodenticides and roads.
Yes, rodenticides is one of the things that definitely affects them because they eat small rodents. And so when they eat that, it's, the poison works its way up the food chain, and they can get also very sick as well, which a lot of the predators that eat smaller rodents and anything like that will get rodenticides. So anything like owls, coyotes, bobcats, mountain lions, it works its way up that food chain and really affects all of them. So it's one of the things that I always kind of mention to people is that there are other ways of getting rid of rodents within your space. You can do, you know, the humane traps and release somewhere else, or you can do the snap traps. But rodenticide is one of those really horrible ways for even for the rodent to pass away as well. It's just basically they kind of bleed from the inside out, and it's not a pleasant way to die. All right, so this is just a image, so a picture. A lot of the videos were shared in that previous one that was showed by OSA with the howling and then kind of in packs. But I have this one that I thought was hilarious. And I really wonder what was going through this coyote's mind while this was happening. So it seems very curious, but also a little not sure about what that is. I think this is the same one. Yeah, so that was a really interesting video and kind of seeing its reaction. I found it quite interesting, and I don't know the reason why, but it was interesting to me that the cats, more of like the cats are rubbing and, you know, although the fox was also rubbing and urinating, but this coyote is, you know, doesn't do that. I must not be one of their typical behaviors, but was really interested in kind of like, what is this? But also very unsure because this is probably something new for it. And so you can really see that behavior there. And I, this image was shared in the previous video, but I just really love it so much. It's like this open natural space, and then you see the city down there, and it just is such a reminder that even in our own backyards, in our open spaces, how we share that space with so many different animals. And it's just, it's such a beautiful picture to me.
Gina was asking, when you hear coyotes howling at night, what are they doing? Are they announcing that they caught something? Or
Yeah.
are they others to go hunt? Or like, what are they doing?
So that's a great question. So from what I was reading, it seemed like they, you know, they use that as a form of communication. From what I read, it said that they're kind of keeping track with other coyote families, but kind of also making sure that all their family members are kind of accounted for, or like where they are. And so it's a form of communication that they're communicating. But it could be, I'm not an expert in coyote communication, but it could be a variety of reasons. That was one of the explanations, but I can totally see it's like them being like, hey, I found food over here. Or like, I found a deer, come, you know, come help me hunt. But yeah, who knows? Great question.
Try that next time I go to the grocery store.
Yeah. All right. So our next friend that we're gonna get to see some footage of is bobcat. And so bobcats are about twice the size of an average house cat. They have long legs, large paws, tufted ears, and look very similar to one of their larger relatives that they get confused with the Canada lynx. And so in that video I showed you earlier of the bobcat with the rattlesnake, a lot of the comments on Robert Martinez's Facebook page was, that's not a bobcat, that is a lynx. And he's like, no, I know where I placed my camera. It's a bobcat because lynx are found in Canada. So he was getting a lot of those comments, just maybe from people from different areas. And it gets its name because their tail appears to be cut. And so people call it a bobcat because of that reason. And they're found throughout North America in forests, mountains, and brushlands. So quite a few areas. The sounds that they make are snarls, caterwauls, spits, and screams. I have no idea what a caterwauls is. But I might research that after I get off of this and kind of see what that sounds like. They are carnivorous. Most cats are carnivorous, and so they are fierce hunters that can kill prey that is bigger than them, but they'll usually be eating rabbits, birds, mice, squirrels, or some of the smaller game. Yeah, and so for them, predators are mostly for their kittens that could be hunted by foxes, coyotes, or larger owls. And then for adults, it's most like more of their threat are human threats. So like we said earlier, the rodenticide, the crossing of the roads, that type of stuff. They are solitary except when they are mating and have young. And so the kittens will stay with their mother for like 9 to 12 months. And during that whole time, they're learning how to be adult cats, how to be able to survive, how to find food and all of that stuff. So what happens a lot with like bobcats and like mountain lions is that a lot of the moms sometimes get hit on the road. And when the kittens are found, if they haven't been with her for 9 to 12 months, they won't be able to survive out on their own. So they'll sometimes go to wildlife rehabilitation places and stay there just because they never got to learn those behaviors. And so they are mostly nocturnal, rarely seen, and especially in urban areas. Can I get like a thumbs up or a raise of hand? How many of you have seen bobcats out in nature, out in the wild? Ooh, oh my goodness. Oh, very lucky. Very, very lucky. I have seen them. They are a little bit, more elusive. I lived in Camarillo in Ventura County long ago and in the hills area, and definitely heard the bobcats and made sure we brought our dogs in at night. So one of the fun facts, they can live 10 to 50 years in the wild. And one of the fun facts is that, we know that domesticated cats do not like water very much. But bobcats actually really enjoy water and are very good swimmers, which I thought was kind of cool.
Susan asking like how high can they actually jump?
Oh, that's a good question.
That they actually found scat in their backyard, but their fences are 6 feet high.
Yeah, so they can leap. Well, one of their leaps can cover like 10 feet. So like if they're hunting, I'm trying to see, I don't see anything about like if they're like in one spot, how high they can jump, but I'm pretty sure they're really good climbers. So yeah, that was one of the concerns when I was living in Camarillo, where I was saying we did have a dog run that the owners, I was a living nanny then while I was going to school, and they let me know that they had built a dog run with a roof on it, so that was covered because they had a bobcat come and take one of their dogs from the top. So you always want to be careful about that. Another cool little thing is that behind each ear, they have a little white spot, and that is to help their kittens follow them when they are walking around at night. So that kind of stands out to them a little bit more, that white color. And so it helps them follow them at night. Also the same thing with tigers. So wild tigers also have the eyes, those white spots behind them. And so their babies can kind of follow them. And it also, if there are any predators, other predators or animals behind them, it also looks like 2 sets of eyes. So, it looks like they are being looked at as well. All right, I am going to move on to show you some footage of our bobcats. This is, I think, is one of my favorite ones that I saw as I was doing this research. I will replay that for you. So bobcats primarily use scent marking and visual markings to mark their territory. And we saw that in like that previous video where it was scratching. And this one is actually spraying the camera there. So, or maybe whatever was close to the camera. So they can do the scent marking, and they don't really use sound to deter other bobcats. They rely on that urine or feces secretions and kind of scrape the ground. and their urine has a really strong odor. I'm going to play that again for you so you can get a chance to see that one more time. That was right at the camera. And then went back to smell it just to make sure it was it approved.
Spell check for the female.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, I think. Okay, here's another one. Wait for it to load. So another spray there. And so what I was reading is that when they're walking around their territory, they will just kind of like walk and go, walk and go, walk and go, as a way of like marking their territory and really like securing it and letting others know, hey, I'm here. And so this next 3 videos, this one is going to be a bobcat. It's another scent marker that was put out there to attract them. But I'm going to share a series of videos of the same location. So you can see the tree there in the background and that same item right there in front. So you saw that quick, just go. Let me. And so this next one, it looks like it's some type of deer that is in that same spot, same tree, same scent marker there right in front. You can see one of them is quite braver than the other. Like, oh, nope, I'm out of here. And this one, a little bit more interested in what that smell is. All right, and this next one, I got very excited about. So same tree, same location, same spot, scent marker there. Well, we have a mountain lion. Mountain lions are one of my favorite animals, as well as a coyote. And so I was quite impressed that that one camera captured such a variety of animals that kind of stopped by. And so we saw the bobcat, we saw the deer, and then we saw the mountain lion. And, you know, bobcats could maybe take down one of those small deers, and mountain lions, deer is one of the primarily things that they eat. So I was just really surprised. I did ask Derek what were some of the animals that they found on their camera traps that they were really excited about. One of them was a golden eagle landing really close by. The other one was, I'm trying to remember, was definitely mountain lion. Oh, and the other one was a coyote howling. Those were some of his favorites that they were just like, it was so cool to be able to catch those. So next we have our mountain lion, which is one of my my fave. And so this cat is known as a cat with many names. So it goes by mountain lion, it goes by cougar, it goes by puma, it goes by panther. It also goes by ghost cat because it's very rarely seen, and catamount. So it has a lot of common names depending where you are in the Americas, and it is native to the Americas. It's one of our large cat species that we have. Okay, now I'm going to ask that same question. And I would like to know how many people have seen a mountain lion out in the wild. Oh, wow. Oh, okay, let's see. Still, I mean, I can see definitely not as many as the bobcat. I know that a lot of biologists that study mountain lions sometimes very rarely get the opportunity to see them in person. They get to see a lot of the footage from the trail cameras and that type of stuff, but not get to see it in person because they're such an elusive cat. That's why they get that name, the ghost cat. They see evidence, they see the markings, the scat, and that type of stuff, but they don't really ever get to see the mountain lion. So I consider all of you that have got to see mountain lions out in the wild there very, very lucky. I have
people have to go with Craig because Craig's seen like 9.
Oh wow.
Not
Oh
me,
my
man.
gosh.
Not my lifetime.
Wow. Yeah. I
Yeah.
would like to go with you, Craig, and join you on a hike to see if I can see them. They are typically, you know, they are a big predator, but they if they hear human activity, they tend to kind of stay away from us. So being able to see one is you're just very lucky. So mountain lions have a small head, small rounded ears. They have a very long tail that's about 2/3 of the length of their body. Having a long tail like that helps them keep balance. They're generally tan, but can, you know, range in color depending on where they're located. So gray to brown, and then they have a lighter underside. And their ears and tails are tipped with black. And when they're babies and they're cubs, the cubs have little spots all over them, kind of camouflage spots that help them blend in when they're younger, and they kind of fade as they mature and get older. The habitat, so more than half of California, including most undeveloped San Mateo and Santa Clara counties, is prime mountain lion habitat. So that's really cool for us to have them in our backyard. But they can be found, you know, they're found at once all throughout the United States. They're not as common anymore in the East Coast, but there is a little bit of section of them in Florida, and those Florida panthers are considered endangered there. So unlike large cats like that we think of, like tigers or lions that are larger cats, like the mountain lion, these cats do not roar. So they instead growl and have little shrieks, hiss, and purrs, very similar to like our common house cats. Their primary source of food is deer, but they'll feed on smaller animals like raccoons, rabbits, and so rodents as well, and any of those types of things that they can catch, all depending on what they have around. And so typically, on average, a lion would have a deer about once a week. And what they do is they hide their food so they can't eat it all at once. So they'll drag their meal to an area and cover it with dry leaves and protect it. So that way it reduces spoilage, and then they'll go back every several days to they can go back for several days to feed. One of their big predators, because they are on the top of the food chain, one of their big things that are hurting them out in the wild are the roadways, rodenticide, and hunting sometimes, like illegal hunting. You're not legally allowed to hunt a mountain lion here in California. They are solitary and territorial animals, except for when they have their young for mating and when they have their young with them. And so we said about, I believe it was 9 to 12 months that bobcats stay with their mom. So for mountain lions, it's 2 years. They stay with them for 2 years to learn all those behaviors on how to survive out in the wild. And they are mostly active at dusk and dawn. And generally they are trying to avoid, and they're doing this to avoid humans. Typical lifespan for a mountain lion can be anywhere from 8 to 13 years. 10 years old is considered an old mountain lion. What one of the cool facts that I thought for them is that they're able to, you know, we said, was it the bobcat leap 10 feet? These guys can leap 40 feet when they're running. So very powerful. And they can leap up 15 feet, so like up to a tree, and they can climb over a 12-foot fence. So if they're really sprinting and trying to go after something for that short burst, they can go up to 50 miles per hour. Pretty incredible animals.
We do have a question about how big is their range?
Oh, good question. Like their territory?
Yeah.
So they have that is one of the big things that is affecting mountain lions, is that they do have territories. Typically an ideal territory would be like 100 square miles. and they don't like to overlap. And so that's what happens is when a mom has her cubs and they are grown and they're like 2 years old to able to kind of leave mom, they have to go out and search for territory that another male doesn't have, and are also going to have to compete. They can sometimes fight over territories, and there's just not a lot of wild spaces left anymore. So that's also some of the things that they have to go through. So here, what Terry and I were talking about, that we have both, we have Coyote Valley, and then we have that new territory. I'm sorry, Terry, my mind is blanking. What is the new space that we got acquired?
Oh, do you mean like the Tilton Ranch area?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So we have both the Santa Cruz Mountains and is it Mount Diablo Mountain space?
They call it the Diablo Foothills.
The Diablo Foothills and Santa Cruz Mountains. And so we have some open space preserve there, and we were just able to acquire a space that is not open to the public yet. They have to do studies and stuff before they do that. But it is kind of that space that is between those both mountain ranges, or the foothills and the mountains. And that's just so important to have, because for animals like mountain lions, they need to leave, where their mom is, because they do not share those territories. They are very territorial. So it could be for males, it's about 100 square feet. And for females, it could range up to like 60 square feet. So they don't have as big of a range as the males do. Great question.
Oh, feet or miles?
Miles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I say feet?
Yeah.
I apologize. Yeah.
Literally changed.
No, 60 square miles and the male's 100 square miles. I apologize. All right. So this is that same tree and scent marker that we saw earlier. And I just thought it was pretty cool. It looks like the one where the mountain lion, the other bobcat might have urinated on the camera. It looks like it. So it's really interesting to see them like smelling the scent marker, but also really smelling the camera, because we saw a lot of different animals urinate on the camera as well.
Hey, I wanted to ask if, I think Jen Moore is still in the audience here too. Is that chirping the chirping they do for their babies?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Is that, or is that a bird? It was Jennifer Moore, one of our docents, who actually pointed that out to me. It was the first time she told me that they chirp.
They do. So let me go back and tell you the different sounds that they make. Let me go back.
Okay. So somebody said it sounds like a flicker.
I'm not a birder, so I wouldn't know. But let me go back to the
hard different, very similar. They said, but
the sounds that they make. So they don't do roars, but they'll do growls, shrieks, hiss, and purrs. So yeah, I'm assuming that sounds more like a bird. Good question. Good observation. I love all these different observations. Okay, let's see. I'm sorry about the lag. Okay. Let's load this one. Did I also hear the chirping here? Do you see that? So this is definitely like mom with a cub, like an older cub, because they're also they wouldn't be together. Do you hear the little chirps? Mm-hmm. Yeah, good observation on that. Yay. See, we're being scientists right now. Let's see this next one. Looks like it might be similar location. It's the same one. I think this is the same video. So let's go to the next one. Hear my computer working with all the videos.
Hamsters are running in the cage.
Okay, here's this next one. Ready to load. Let's see where we are on time. Ooh, and I just noticed that we are over on time. So for those of you that are joining us, and if you have to go, this is recorded, so we will be able to share it. I apologize for going over time. We're just really in it. I just really liked this one because of how many are in the video. All right. And our next animal is our last animal. And I'm really excited to oh, there's another video of the mountain lion, one of the mountain lions feeding. Which is a turkey.
Thanksgiving, I guess.
Perfect for Thanksgiving. And our next animal is our western burrowing owl, which is considered a species of concern here in California. So they are sandy colored owls with bright yellow eyes. They typically, height-wise, are about 8 inches or so. And just so you have an idea, that's about the size of a soccer ball, like height-wise. And their weight can be anywhere from 4 to 7 ounces. But just so you have an idea how much that is, about 5 ounces is a baseball. So you can kind of typically about that weight. They're found in dry, open areas with low vegetation. And they typically will burrow, use burrows of other animals that other animals have dug. And their primary food source are insect and small mammals. They can eat reptiles and amphibians, but mainly are eating insects. So that's one of the good, one of the things to keep in mind is because they eat insects that you really want to be aware of using insecticide in areas that you might see them. So some of their predators are coyotes, could be coyotes, hawks, snakes, badgers, skunks, foxes, even just feral cats and dogs if they go out into the area where they're found. So burrowing owls often live in permanent pair bonds, and then they form little colonies with different pairs for the nesting, and the colonies consist of like 9 to 19 birds, but there's no like complex social order in there. And then the colonies break up once the chicks have grown up. I thought that was a pretty cool, cool fact about that. And they're diurnal, so that means they're awake and active during the day. Most other owls are nocturnal and active at night, so that was also pretty interesting. They can live 6 to 8 years, and the cool fact about them is they're listed as endangered in Canada and threatened in Mexico, and then depending by state, also throughout the states here. So listed as endangered in Minnesota, threatened in Colorado, and they're a species of concern in Arizona, California, Florida, Montana, Oklahoma, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. So here in California, they're a species of concern. So we have some of them at some of our sites, and I think that's such a cool thing. Like if you ever get to go, I believe, is it Sierra Vista, Terry, where they're most often found? So if you're ever hiking and you're out in Sierra Vista, keep an eye out for them. It's just really cool to know that we have them, and that open space is able to provide a safe habitat for them. And we did not have many footage of the burrowing owl. This is the only picture that we had, so that's all I have to share for that. I know we are kind of running out, we are over time, but if that's kind of all the species we were going to go over, I wanted to share why I am really interested in trail cameras. So if you have time to join us for that, I'd really appreciate it. So here you have a picture of P22. Can you guys raise your hand or do a thumbs up in the reactions and show how many of you have heard of P22? see how many we have. Ooh.
Lots and lots.
Ooh, I love it.
Ooh, celebrity.
Yeah. So P22, I'm originally from Los Angeles, and P22 is a celebrity in LA. So Miguel Ordenana, he is a wildlife biologist at the Natural History Museum. He is an acquaintance of mine. We are from LA, and I used to work at a nonprofit where he collaborated a lot with us. And he is an expert on trail cameras and on large carnivores. And so in February 2012, they were doing this study, the Griffith Park Connectivity Study. And for those of you that know LA, know that Griffith Park is this jewel of a park, you know, surrounded by downtown LA and the city, surrounded by freeways as well. And so they were just doing a study and kind of a project that had low funding, and they were trying to figure out what is going in and out of the park. And so he was checking the trail camera footage on his weekend, like as on his off free time. And he discovered footage of P22. And it was one of those things that this is a quote, for him, it was like seeing Bigfoot or Chupacabra for the first time. He was just like, what? A mountain lion in Griffith Park? As we know, they need a large territory, right? At least 100 square miles. Griffith Park is not nearly that size. It is a small, you know, it's big for being a natural space in downtown LA, you know, in that space, but not nearly big enough for a mountain lion to survive in. So it was like, how did this happen to be here? So what they did once they found P22 and saw him in the footage, they were able to capture him and put a wildlife a tracking collar on him, and they were able to do blood work. And so there is a study on mountain lions in the Santa Monicas. And so P1, which stands for Puma 1, was the first mountain lion that was kind of tracked and able to get blood work, is his father. And so he had to cross the 405 and the 101 to make it into Griffith Park and go through residential areas. And he survived. Like, one of those really big things is going through freeways and roadways that really affects mountain lions. And he crossed two of the busiest freeways in Los Angeles that have, you know, people driving through constantly. So it was already a big deal that he made it to Griffith Park. And this is one of my favorite pictures from Steve Winters. He is a National Geographic photographer, and he was able to put out a trail camera. And that was like, this was the shot he was looking for. And he was able to put out a trail camera and get this picture. So I'm going to share a quick, like 2-3 minute video from Steve Winters on him getting this picture.
We are here in Griffith Park in central LA working on our mountain lion story because there's a mountain lion in downtown LA, right by the Hollywood sign and right above the Hollywood Hills. He had to cross the 405 to get here, and the 101 he crossed a bridge. He's stuck here because of freeways with enormous amounts of traffic 24 hours a day. Visually, technically, the difficulty of working in downtown LA, boy, there are so many challenges that are completely different than the ones that I usually face working in remote jungles around the world. I mean, here, these urban cats don't normally walk or hunt during the day. So we're photographing at night. The remote cameras are set at night. Angle it down. The single hardest thing about working in this park is finding locations where you see urban wildlife and the city. We walk the trails and try to find the best view. You have to see that you're in downtown LA. You don't want to think that you're in downtown LA. You want to know you're in downtown LA.
I knew we were on the right track when I got some photographs of animals and people that walk through the trap. After 14 months, everything came together. The lighting, the composition. and I got the image I dreamed of, P-22 with the Hollywood sign.
So that is what really got me motivated and just really excited about trail cameras. Another good thing was, P-22 is living in Griffith Park, but because of trail cameras, they were able to see that he was not doing so well and that he was ill. And one of the reasons that he was sick is because of rodenticide. And so the biologists were able to see that in one of the trail cameras, be able to recapture him and treat him for mange. And then they injected him with vitamin K to counteract the effects of the rat poison. So he is now looking handsome as ever, like he is in that previous picture, and he is doing well. And I just really wanted to show the importance of, trail cameras. They provide a lot of that information for us. They can let us know that there was a mountain lion in Griffith Park, but they also let us know that he wasn't doing so well, and biologists were able to make him feel better. And that is my favorite picture there, P-22, that I love to share with folks. I had so much footage that I had to go through for this presentation that I wasn't able to share everything. So thank you guys. I know I went over and I apologize for that, but I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. I have one last video of some of the pictures that I wasn't able to use that I'd like to share with you. It's pretty short, but it's extra trail cam pictures. That share our lands as well. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you for all that stayed during that time. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that that last video just kind of shows a little tidbit of all the animals that share our open space with us. So while you're out there, and although you might not see them, you might see some evidence of them. You can see some scat sometimes or some tracks, but they do make their home there. Thank you guys for supporting us, and I hope that you guys enjoy our open spaces. Also, the day after Thanksgiving, we are having an opt-out side at Rancho Cañada del Oro. So from 8 to noon. So if you would prefer to go out and hike your pie off, as Terry says, please come join us there. We'd love to see you.
Thank you. Nice seeing everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.